This next commercial is for a company that provides mobility supplies. This would be scooters, power chairs for people with medical conditions. The unique selling proposition is described as they provide freedom and test drives. The call to action is remember Parker Medical Center for mobility, which equals freedom.
People I have working for me like working with people, and their main interest is that they not just do a job, but they actually see the end result, and they can see a smile on a patient's face when they walk out the door.
Richard Parker of Parker Medical likes to think that they're actually in the business of providing freedom.
We sell mobility products, but we also allow that patient to get out there and actually experience life again. You have to look at the customer and see exactly what their needs are and then match the right product to that need. The Invacare mobility line is power chairs, scooters, and lift chairs. Beyond that, they're the world's leader in rehab. It's a unique thing we started about a year ago. We offer patients the ability to come into the store and drive around on one of the scooters or power chairs and actually test it and see if it's going to work for them.
Smiles, freedom, and throw in a test drive. Parker Medical, with 2 showrooms, in Decatur and Fayetteville. Call 404-SCOOTER. Parker Medical, Atlanta's mobility specialist. 404-SCOOTER.
I heard someone attempting to, I'll call him Al. I think what Al was trying to do is helping the client find the better reality. They may say they're in the business of selling mobility products, but is that the business they're really in? No, they're in the business, in the better reality sense, of helping people who have some mobility issues find some freedom to choose the one that works for them and to test drive and do all of that. But rather than said, particularly at the top, I think it needs to be demonstrated. And I think they lost a terrific opportunity in not taking that issue of freedom and demonstrating it in some way.
So we actually see somebody experiencing freedom rather
Yes.
than hear that we can provide them with freedom. Can you give a 1 or 2 sentence definition of the better reality concept?
Well, there's a concept that's called myopic vision in strategy for advertising. And the myopic vision is saying, well, we sell tires. As the railroad said, we're in the railroad business, instead of saying when the airlines came along, we're in the transportation business. And that is the kind of better reality from which you can launch into all kinds of possibilities in advertising. And this, I think, was an example of someone attempting to get rid of this myopic vision of we sell mobility products and opening it up to something broader and larger. And it's a good idea. Freedom is right, except that I would, as I said, would rather have had it demonstrated rather than said.
Yeah, I thought that the sponsor did a good job of speaking conversationally and
Yes.
believably about his business.
I like that a lot. That's someone I would trust and I'd be willing to go into the store and talk to and feel that he understands and he's a friend.
I also think they did some nice editing. To the average listener, it just sounds like the guy talked for 30 seconds, but clearly they spliced together bits and pieces. I don't know why they used reverb on the announcer's voice, which helped deflate the reality for me.
Yeah, it did.
It made it less personal. Also, I would have begun that commercial much later. The first sentence is something to the effect of that the people who work for me, people I work with, like to work with people.
Yeah, they care about people. Yeah.
What does that have to do with that? You could say that for any business. Let's start by getting the attention of the audience and getting to the meat of it, because you don't have in a 30-second commercial here. You don't have a lot of time. I guess this was a 60. You still don't have a lot of time.
Well, there's a tendency for all companies, all businesses, to really believe that people working for them care and are going to give you a personalized service. And in many cases, that's true, but in most cases, it's not, because the people who work there haven't been brought up to the level of the management or their view of what personal service means. And it sounds like a cliche that opens the spot when something more grabby could have been there, like, we will give you the opportunity to test drive this, Mr. Firkins, if you we'll choose a better name than Firkins. Figgleworth, that's a good name. We'll give you the chance to really try this, Mr. Figgleworth. You don't want to buy anything here without trying it. And he says, may I? Yeah, please, go ahead. And he tries it. And he says, yeah, this feels really good. And that seems to me to really launch into it very quickly with the demonstration.
Or have the real Mr. Figgleworth simply talk on mic saying, after my accident, I was afraid to leave the house.
Yes.
And I was just real depressed. And my wife took me to Parker Medical.
Absolutely.
And Joe Himmelblau, the sales guy, showed me 6 different models. And now we have somebody in a testimonial sense giving the message that these are real people who care. But that's believable.
Yes, it is, absolutely. In fact, that's a far more dramatic opening. And I don't think it would have been hard to do. If you can go get, most of these people are willing to talk about this kind of situation. In fact, people who buy products and are satisfied with them are very open to doing this kind of thing. So
A great untapped resource.
yeah,
Right.
that would have been. But go ahead.
A couple more things. I fully believe there is some kind of industry called the mobility product industry, but I don't think in the history of the world anyone has awakened thinking I really need to find a good source of mobility products. And I would rather than them using industry jargon, what is it you sell? Is it wheelchairs? Is it walkers? Is it, I don't know what it is, but tell us in real language. And the other, do you know, they said they customize. Do you know what they mean by that?
No, I have no idea what customized means. Do they adjust? Do they sell you one with big wheels or small wheels? Do they give you, if you say, this is a very hard seat, do they supply more cushioning? That would have been, of course, if they had done the demonstration with a real person, we might have known that.
Right. And very, very seriously, it sounds like a bad joke, but if the result of whatever the medical condition is one leg shorter than the
Yes.
other, are you an amputee or have you lost one limb? And if somehow they can accommodate these depending on the person's needs, that would be very powerful.
Yes. There was one other issue that I had. The better selling proposition is stated there as what?
The USP is they provide freedom and test drives. So right away they're trying to give 2 messages.
Yeah.
And I think they providing freedom is potentially real powerful.
Yes.
I guess I didn't sense the freedom.
No, that didn't come through at all.
I mean, have you ever
Except saying it.
have you ever imagined what it would be like if you lost the use of your limbs and wondered how you would cope with it? And because I certainly have. And if they addressed that, because that's terribly frightening to me, the idea of not being able to walk.
And the person who usually goes in, from personal experience, if the person who usually goes in and searches out one of these mobility products is usually a son, a husband, a close member of the family. So you're really selling to those members of the family or a good friend rather than the person who needs the thing itself. And somehow that spot, by the way, could have been done with one of those people as well.
No, I didn't know that. That makes sense to me. I never would have thought that. But so what I'm hearing then is maybe a commercial that starts with after Dad had his stroke, he felt that his life was over, and it was terrible for the rest of us because he was the most active person we ever knew. And you don't hoke it up. You don't say, along came Parker Medical that now he's happier than before his stroke. But if you can show the difference that it's made in his life and it's a real person, that'd be incredibly powerful.